Hi, good evening, all of you, and nice to be around. Toward the end of the day, I know there's every person sitting in this room is very keen to know one thing. There is the common man out there in the streets of India. Just now, the panel before me also spoke about it, that there are a huge number of people who have the potential to invest into mutual funds. But how is it? Or is there a new way of looking at getting people to invest in mutual funds? Now, I think what I did was, as part of trying to understand the world of influencing mutual funds, although I was part of the launch of at least 2 mutual funds in my fairly long career. But I think I've been out of it for a long time. So recently, I just went back to those communications again. And what did I find? I found words like large cap, mid cap, some ABS, RTS, someone told me is absolute returns. Then someone told me XIRR percentage. Some AN, is it annual returns? I don't know what it is. Then some NAV. I think I invest in about 5 to 6 mutual funds. So I get a lot of these communication from all these mutual funds. And I see these words. I gathered all these words from all these mutual funds. I'm fairly, educated. I write a column in Mint. I am a visiting faculty in IIM Ahmedabad. I give lectures in London School of Economics and Chicago Booth, where Raghuram Rajan is also there. But to be honest, I can't give a proper understanding of what these words mean. If I don't really understand it, one question I want to ask each of you, with hand on your heart, can you tell me what percentage of your investors that you've got so far really understand these words? Exactly. Then my question is, എൻ്റെ മാതൃഭാഷ ആ മാതൃഭാഷയിൽ ഞാൻ സംസാരിക്കാം. ആ മാതൃഭാഷയിൽ ഞാൻ സംസാരിച്ചാൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലാവോ? Yeah, some Mallus are there to understand. But I think your mother tongue, as far as you're concerned, is numbers. My mother tongue is Malayalam. I can continue to speak in Malayalam. You and all of you who are in the world of finance, you understand, and the language that you speak is numbers. That's your mother tongue. But you continue to speak to the common man, and I saw the videos out here before, when I was sitting there, the fruit sellers, the this sellers, to including people like me who make fairly intelligent people, and you say that you want to persuade me? And persuasion is all about the basics. And I know I heard about technology change, I heard about distribution change, I talk about, a lot of other changes. The first thing that we need to change, if we have to improve the persuasion of and get people onto this mutual fund, is to speak a language which people understand. Stop speaking in numbers. Stop speaking in numbers. Now, every ad that I take, the images that I see, the words I see is all returns, more return, do, ha. Now, what does it do to you? I know, end of it, you can write that legal thing by saying the past is not an indicator of the future, and you cleaned your, and you protected your backside from a legal point of view. But from a behavioral point of view, I think when we speak about, and we know behavioral economics is even a random number affects the angering. It becomes the anger on which my expectations are set. And when we speak about whether I'm happy to invest into mutual funds or I'm not happy to invest into mutual funds, it depends upon the expectations that has been set by all of you. And when we say the people are sadly unhappy, I believe other investment opportunities are better, is because I think mutual funds have not lived up to the expectations that have been set by you. Now, I know you will say, returns are very important, Biju. When I did all the our focus group researchers, people said, returns are the reason why I come in. Now, people invest in gold, I don't know how many times more than mutual funds. Now, you show me a single gold investor who has taken all the gold that he has taken, all the dates that on which the gold were bought, and did some SIR and CPQR percentages on a daily basis. Even after monetization, I think still the largest amount of our savings are kept in cash. Now, you think people are really concerned about returns? I think somewhere we are getting the understanding of the consumers very wrong. Because all this is based on what I would call a traditional understanding of human behavior. Classical economics and some traditional psychology theory said people are rational. People are conscious of what they do. But in the last 15 to 20 years, a very new science of understanding the brain has come in called cognitive neuroscience, and along with it, behavioral economics has come in and has said that people are predominantly, all our processes, 99.99% of our processes are non-conscious. And there is nothing called a rational decision. All human decisions are emotional, which means the very construct of human behavior has fundamentally shifted. And as Shankar Vedantam of Washington Post in his book said, this new understanding of human behavior constitutes a revolution no less intriguing, perhaps far more powerful than the discovery that the sun really does not revolve around the earth. Now, how many people in the mutual fund industry have understood and have accepted that this new paradigm shift that has happened in the knowledge about human behavior? We cannot be using the traditional maps based on Earth is the center of the world and then develop strategies and expect people to get the ships to be reaching the right places. We need to make not an incremental change, we need to make a paradigm shift in our approach to our investors. So based on this understanding, for example, I think immediately after the PMJDY project was over, the government of India came to us and said, yes, we got about 222 million people opening a bank account. But I study their behaviors and really get to really know their behaviors, and can you come and tell us how do we get them to continue to use the mutual funds, or banking services on a regular basis? So we studied the behavior. That man out there, that the panel that just was discussing about, is he really an illiterate? I think my team spent a lot of time, but I think to study what we call the non-conscious triggers of actually going about my financial dealings. So when we studied, for example, the money lender, now this man rushes across in the middle of the night, knocks at the door of the money lender and says, sir, I desperately need, because I need to take my wife to the hospital. So he says, how much money? So he said, sir, can you lend me 5,000 rupees? Of course, I'll do it. Now he takes 5,000 rupees and then he says, okay, 500 I'm keeping it. That's the interest. Now 4,500. Okay, what's understanding? 50 rupees every day you need to pay. Now that's his understanding. So he wanted 5,000 rupees. He got 4,500 rupees because 500 was taken as an interest. And all these told us, now for the next 100 days, please pay 50 rupees each. Now we might say people are stupid. But when we went into that decision, we realized, what are the factors on which this man decided whether I should go and hire 5,000 rupees? One, he said, access to money. That means I would go to the money lender because that man I can knock at any time of the day or night and he's available. Two, unlike the banks who might decide to give me or not give me, as long as I paid the previous loan, this man will pay me the money. There's a surety of money. And the most important thing, third, on what basis did I really choose 5,000 and not 10,000? He said, can I pay 50 rupees from my 200 rupee income every day, which is the ability to repay my means. The percentage, it might be 45%, you can calculate all that, is not a parameter in the decision-making process as far as this man is concerned. And trying to teach him now to say that there is 12% loan here, this is 44%, is irrelevant to him in the decision-making process that he's really involved in. And unless we understand this, we're going to go wrong. Or this whole facet called exchange for profit, returns, or savings for tomorrow. When did we start thinking of tomorrow, our brain? Our brain started thinking of tomorrow when we planted that first agriculture seed 8,000 years back. That means for almost millions of years, in the savannas, we live for the day. That means our brains are constructed to live for the day. Savings is not an integral part of our behavior. It's a very, very recent phenomenon in our brain. But there are certain fundamental things that drive the whole facet of exchange. Exchange has existed for a long time. And what is the parameter on which, what is the most important factor in all exchanges? Is trust. And to all the veterans of mutual fund industry, I would ask one question. The last 1 year, what did you do to actually say, this I'm doing to actually further enhance the trust that the investors, that people have in me? What have you done? What have you done to improve the trust? The gold man, the gold seller, every time he passes by, we started grandfather onwards, we've been buying from the same gold shop. And he reinforces trust again and again and again. He doesn't play returns on gold at any point of time. None of it. Trust is what he plays around there. And we know it. I've sold toothpaste and a whole lot of things in life. But you know your industry. You cannot talk about what you're finally going to deliver. Which means there's no more uncertain a transaction than a financial transaction. But what happens when there's uncertainty, the brain is faced with uncertainty? The worst thing you can do is to load with more and more information. It further creates confusion and uncertainty in the brain. First of all, as I said, we are all failing in mathematics except you. You're all the veterans who passed mathematics very well. I'm all guys who got extremely low marks in mathematics. And 99% of the people are scared of numbers and mathematics. And most of when I'm uncertain, please don't give me all those numbers. I get completely confused. So that's the time we know the brain in uncertain times takes shortcuts, heuristics. That's the whole 3 Nobel Prizes have happened in the 15 years on trying to understand the world of behavioral economics. Taylor, who's a good friend of mine, has always been saying, how do we talk about this more and more people? Let me give one tip to you. Now, we even talk about returns. Now, what if you said, the last 6 months, this are the 82,000 or whatever number of people have invested in this particular fund. Or should you say in the last 6 months, this fund actually gave a return of this, which is better? Now, I would say from a behavioral science point of view, what the others have done and social proof is a far more stronger indicator whether I should put that fund money in that particular fund vis-a-vis what the return on that was. Which means we can relook at the way, using heuristics, we can actually relook at our strategies. And when we are uncertain, what is it that we need most? It's the reassurance of a human being. I think that is why we did this work for FIFA, where we studied the mutual fund people. They said, I know there are certain moves to take the intermediaries away. I would say never do it. The intermediarization is an essential, and what I would say is please even further enhance. All that you need to do is how do you further enhance the human touch that this particular person can actually provide. Because if people are not investing in our mutual funds today, a lot of us think is awareness or mostly is the knowledge gap. And both our PMJDY project and the mutual fund project said, it is not it's not a knowledge gap that is prevailing. It's not an awareness gap that is prevailing as to why people are not coming to you. People are not coming to you because there is an emotional gap. People say there is a psychological distance between me and the bank, the system that is there. And that's why I'm not putting money in the bank and I keep that money in the cash. And so, really want to increase the number of people who really want to invest into mutual funds. To the veterans of mutual fund industry, I want to ask one question back to you. Are you Are you willing to speak a new language? Beyond the language, far beyond the language, that number game language that we've been speaking, are you willing to speak a new language? If you're willing to do that, I can assure you, a far more number of people will come into this particular industry. Thank you.